This is the Queen of Politics edition of The Aaron Cruz Show, the political weekly wrap-up that packs a punch with your host, Aaron Cruz.
Hello and good evening and welcome to The Aaron Cruz Show. Coming to you from Palm Springs, California. This is the Queen of Politics. I am your hostess, Aaron Cruz. Thank you for joining me. Tonight's topic. Ba-dum-bum-bum. I love this part. Yeah, it's always a challenge to come up with what I'm going to talk about. But tonight's topic is a doozy. It really is. My mind was blown today when Sessions, it came forward that Sessions literally came out of a closed-door meeting. Well, this is, should I say, reportedly, came out of a closed-door meeting with paper in his hand, which had information about the meeting's agenda on it. So, our topic for tonight is the big picture, weed leak. Stealth session exposes leakers and traitors within. Okay, here's the deal, folks. So many people just are not paying attention. They're distracted. Let's get past the noise. Okay, let's get past the noise. Take a minute. Really think about, I don't know if you've read the book, but maybe I'm going to go on a tangent here. And I don't know if you've read the book about Alinsky tactics, okay? Saul Alinsky. You should. Because I want you to pull back for a moment here, and I want you to look at the big picture, okay? The big picture. Right now, you're nose up. Many of you are nose up, right to that painting. And it's like an impressionist painting. So all you see are these dots, these bright, colorful dots. But if you step back one step, suddenly those small dots start to take form. You take another step back, and wow, this is amazing. It almost looks like a picture of something. And you take another step back, and before you know it, your perspective has changed. Your perspective has changed. The picture didn't change. Your vision didn't change, but the perspective, your vantage point, pulling back out, looking from afar, has given you the ability to see everything for what it is. So just like that, what now you're seeing is, rather than just this story and that story and this going on in Alabama and that going on over in the DOJ and that going on over in the FBI and, you know, this situation over in California and Hollywood with the gropers and the harassers and the haranguers and the attackers and the whatever. I don't mean to brush that off. It's a serious deal. Sexual harassment and all of these issues actually are, you know, huge deal. Okay? But the deal is this, is if you step back and you see the big picture, you start to realize how it's all tied together. You start to realize that there's a bigger problem. There's a bigger issue. And that bigger problem, that bigger issue needs solutions, and it needs solutions, smart solutions, fast. It requires that you and me and other patriots across the nation do step back and get a grip. Okay? So what I would like to do now is I would like for you to think about that big picture and think about all the busyness going on, all that noise that you saw when you're way too close, and how suddenly as you step back it all fits together. It's a picture of corruption. It's a picture of undermining our republic. It's a picture of the state of our nation. It's basically warfare from coast to coast, from border to border. It's coming from outside the borders, but primarily it's coming from inside our borders. And that's just the lowdown on what I'm seeing in the big picture. Okay. So how do I say sessions fit in with this? Now, I've done a couple interviews today, and for my upcoming book, Revolution America, which I need for all of you to be passing around to your book clubs and your different groups, patriotic groups and church groups, and people you think might be able to use some communication tools, either in politics or in their personal lives, for Christmas. This book is entitled Revolution America for a reason, because we are Revolution America. We are. And I'm really believing that this can help shift the conversation, shift the energy that's in our nation by changing the minds of man and women. Yeah. So please take a look at that. ErinCruz.com, ERINCRUZ.com. And share it with your friends. Get it as a gift. It's great stocking stuffer under $20. Good for teenagers up through adults, men and women. It says it's written for women and it's written by a conservative woman. It's not just for conservatives though. It is for everyone. Everyone can take something from it. So please go ahead and take a look at that and share it with friends. Once you're done using it and reading it, be great if when I go on my book tour, I'll go ahead and I'll sign it for you if I get to meet you. And if it's something that you really want to give to someone else, pass it along. Don't let it just sit on the shelf for years unless it's something that you want a souvenir and you like to collect books and what have you. And also, it's never a bad thing to brush up skills from time to time. Okay, so enough on my book, because I really want to get into this. When I talk about Revolution America, and I talk about that big picture, and I talk about pulling back, stepping away, taking a deep breath, and looking at things from a different perspective, I mean it. Right now, we are literally at war from within. It's a war of information. It's a war of the mind. It's also an emotional battle. We see emotional battles nationwide. I saw a huge one as it deals with Sandy Hook today. It wasn't enough to just pay respects to the lost and talk about the positive healing of that community. They had to go into the gun agenda and other things. And it's just what we're seeing right now is that information war, that churning and churning, constantly eroding at the minds of man and the hearts of man using tearjerker. We saw this in the Obama administration campaigns, tearjerker moments and pulling with emotions and heartstrings. It's beyond respectable. It's beyond respectable. So pull back even farther. Let's look at one situation, one little speck in that dotted nation of ours with all of these little battles going on from coast to coast, from border to border. Okay? We have sessions. Now, a lot of people don't like sessions right now, and we all are seeing the media through a filtered lens of what they want us to see. We get what the White House is giving us, and that's helpful. We get the pressers, that's helpful. We have the Mueller investigation going on, which is shining light everywhere but where he wants it, which is really what he's doing at this point is criminal. But let's look at sessions for a moment today, and what I'm coining as weed leak. Okay, Vice reported, and many other liberal arms reported, that Jeff Sessions came out of a closed meeting where he was talking about, very appropriately, drugs and items that the DOJ addresses. One of the items was marijuana. Now, marijuana is not top on our list of needs to deal with right now. However, they are working on that legislation and ironing out issues relating to the opioid crisis and other things. It wouldn't be unnatural for Jeff Sessions to be addressing such issues in closed-door sessions. But he comes out of this meeting and he has this paper in his hand, reportedly has this paper in his hand, because we can't see it's him. Even if we could see it's him, we still can't verify necessarily that it is not photoshopped. There are some crazy, crazy things people can do out there with Photoshop these days. Just Google it. So we see a picture of a piece of paper in a man's arm under a man's hand with an agenda on it. And quite interestingly, this is where I find it's very clear what we're up against in the warfare across America right now, especially and primarily in D.C. and in politics, eroding our country. Rather than the individual who took the picture of the paper, nudging Sessions and saying, "Sir, there's writing on that paper. I don't know if it's sensitive information." Rather than just walking away or continuing on, they made a conscious decision to take a photograph of the paper. They then made a conscious decision to pass on that information, which then passed on to the internet, which then passed into the general public's hands and whomever might want to weaken our great republic from within or from outside the United States. When you or I or anyone else come in contact with information, no matter how sensitive it is, it's important we think about the repercussions of those actions, those interactions and the actions that come forth from our psyche, our mind, and our thoughts and everything else. I mean, it could be expression, or it could be, even talking about what we saw or what went on. I mean, it could be various things, but we have a responsibility and a duty to our nation to ensure that we are not passing off information which could undermine our great republic. That's just plain and simple. I could go into the details, but I'm not going to go into them too much. The short of it is this: the person who took that information and passed it on was not just irresponsible. They were a traitor. In my mind, anyone who is that close to Jeff Sessions should have the proper training about sensitive material, proper training about the chain of government and how things operate. Putting out that kind of information to the public or even to other officials is quite blatantly morally and ethically wrong, but it's could be an act of sabotage, could be an act of it could be an act of several different things, really. Think about it for a minute. Now, what people miss, and step back, now we're really kind of thinking about this, right? Let's step back 1, 2, 3 more times away from this and step back at this picture and think about what really went on. There's a picture showing words facing outward where someone could easily see it. Does this sound like something that the head of the DOJ would do? Now, a girlfriend of mine, a friend and a colleague, old colleague of mine, someone I worked with for years, who I loved, she's a dear woman and a patriot and a woman of God, just great lady. She brought up something interesting that I had forgotten. Stealth Sessions. He is one of the most predominant intel guys in our country. He didn't get to that position he's at by being a dodo bird. So think about this as you stepped back. Why would Sessions do that? Why would Sessions allow for information? We don't know if that's what they really talked about. We don't know if the agenda was met. We certainly would have hoped that the people he's surrounded with at that time were high-level folks, certainly given oaths. Because people who work at those levels take oaths. And to violate that oath is punishable up to and including termination, possibly conviction. I mean, if they're found convicted of a crime, they could possibly be fined or sent to jail, depending on what it is that they do. So one would hope that the people that surround him would be properly trained or informed. So why would Sessions, somebody at that caliber, just coming out of that sort of meeting, have that paper or a paper facing outward with words? Think about this. He's no dodo, like I said. If you want to catch a leaker, what better than to have information for them to leak? I mean, weed is not at the top of their agenda. I'm going to tell you what. Right now, opiates are. And there are a lot bigger issues, fish to fry and other things. You know, marijuana is a big deal. Yes, especially in the hands of minors and irresponsible folks, sure. But we have alcohol, we have cigarettes, we have, patriots who can make their own decisions. They're adults. As long as they're within the confines of the law, federal and state. I don't know that that's a top issue. Except for as it relates to maybe, say, cartels and other things. But why would he have that paper there then? Why would he do that? Well, he wants to catch a leaker, and you know what he did? He flushed them out. And now they're out there for everybody to see. Of course, now everybody's busy on these other stories that have come up, right? Right now we have one of Trump's gals. She's resigned and going on the talking circuit and trying to clear up fake news and all of that. All right. So nobody's really paying attention. We've seen Russia drummed up again. We see Mueller going crazy again. And so nobody's really paying attention. But I'm hoping Sessions is paying attention. And I'm hoping that all of this, he's not a dumb guy. None of these people are stupid. Okay? I think there are not so smart people. Most of these people in there are relatively intelligent. And a lot of them who have intelligence training, not intelligence as in smarts, but intelligence as in information, training, they are good at what they do. They don't get in those circles without being good. And not just good, but excellent at what they do. So that begs the question, why? Well, I'm hoping that this is a signal. This is what I'm hoping. This is a signal that they are literally weeding out, as we speak, the people who are within the ranks of government, within the ranks of the press, within the ranks of even the workers who are around them, surrounding them. Who don't you pay attention to when you're working? Who don't you see when you're doing your thing, going about your day? When you're in a business environment? Janitors, cleaners, secretaries, people who are invisible. File clerks. I mean, I know we don't have as many file systems anymore, but, I'm talking about people who are quiet, who aren't on the front lines. We have to have all of those individuals in a position where they're looking out for the best interest of our great nation. So I'm hoping that no matter what is going on with the FBI and Mueller and the Senate and the fraud that just went on over in Alabama, and Gloria Allred and her client who just stole an election, literally undermined a federal election. Hollywood, all these accusations relating to sexual harassment and assaults with famous people within media and government. What I'm hoping is that with all of that busyness around, is that Sessions and the DOJ and others are weeding out, using the weed leaks, weeding out more leakers. And that's a signal, I hope. Now, as it relates to Mueller, because I think this is important to tie in, because it's very close in proximity, this dot is very close in proximity to Sessions' dot, because we're looking at that painting, with all the dots all over it. So two of those that are close together are Sessions and Mueller. Now, Mueller, an interesting development came forward today about him that I would like for you to think about. It looks like the FBI, in all of this big investigation with Mueller, is starting to turn on him. That's one of the reports. The biggest issue I think we're facing from this big picture situation is, again, he is one of the people who is undermining our republic, and he's doing it very publicly. He's planting seeds, he's investigating people, he's putting fire under the seats, and lighting up government. Of course, he's not coming up with anything, which is very interesting, except for issues that are going to quite possibly incriminate himself. Think about that. I believe, and I could be wrong, and I do not have evidence, I believe that Mueller himself is in some form involved in this entire process, that through this investigation, or possibly even before that, Mueller was privy to the games that were being played within the Democrat Party, within government, to undermine our republic. And this goes all the way back to none other than Lois Lerner of the IRS. Now, she's just another little dot. Lois Lerner wouldn't testify. Oh God, they just, I can't believe that these people get away with these crimes against America, against our republic these days. It just baffles me. But she was part of a process which led to the highlighting of and targeting of Tea Party members. Okay? People, maybe even unsuspecting Americans who didn't see it as targeting. Maybe they were audited and they just thought it was a normal process. Maybe they didn't feel it was intimidation. But, she was part of a team of people who was inappropriately looking for more, getting more information, and taking on tactics which undermine our republic and our citizenry. Now, she wasn't alone in the IRS doing all of these things. She's the one put on the hot seat. Just like Comey wasn't the only one leaking memos from the FBI. Just like Mueller isn't the only one sitting at the top of that investigative team who was actually tied to Clinton's. All of these people, when you get to the top, this is how it is. All of these people at the top, it's a small circle, it's a small world. It's important that we look at the big picture. They're tied together. Okay, think of, I just had you thinking about the Impressionist painting, but think about dominoes. Have you ever set up a chain of dominoes and you knock one over and they all fall down? I'm hoping, and now hope isn't a battle plan as I hear somebody ring in my ears. Hope is not a battle plan. But if indeed Sessions was signaling, and if indeed they are looking into the deeper depths of corruption, the leaks, the ties to media and other individuals in our ranks, if indeed that's the case, it would be great if they all went down like dominoes. Because it's going to have to be swift. If you recall, when Trump went ahead and he cleaned house, he took a few months to just knock down the dominoes, but he did, and it didn't come easy. Media was all over it. Why? Because it risks and it undermines their entire organization. I mean, if you think back to Prohibition days, and you think back to the any kind of criminal organization, they're networks of people. You look at the drug cartels, same thing, networks of people. No different. Right now, what we have is we have a set of individuals, progressive communist individuals, who have literally been undermining our republic. And what I would like to say is, I believe Mueller does not have good intentions. It would be one thing if he was actually looking for fraud. I believe he knows there is no fraud. I mean, there is no collusion with Russia. There is no crime that Trump committed as it relates to Russia. And I believe he also knows, because he's been very careful to go around the Clintons. He knows how they're tied in. Otherwise, I believe that entire angle would have been blown up by now. And so we have to recognize that we have people in our midst that are not for our republic. And if we blow back to somebody who's very similar, and they called his investigation a witch hunt too, by the way, is none other than McCarthy. Yeah, do you remember him? McCarthy files. He was on a witch hunt, they said. He was looking for communists, they said. It's just craziness, they said. They buried his files for 50 years. They're now unburied. What would happen if, say, the DOJ had a special organization that tied in all of those names from the McCarthy files to the current people in our government? I'd be very curious. I mean, I'm not saying that everybody who's tied from relation would be part of a scheme to undermine the republic, but certainly it could bring up questions as to the allegiance to this great nation. McCarthy had the nation's best interests in mind, and there currently at that time was war going on. What Mueller is doing is literally covering for Hillary Clinton, using the same people that Hillary Clinton probably colluded with to take down Trump. Maybe she didn't collude with them. Maybe she just is using them as a pawn. Okay, he's using those same people to try to bring down our president. Or at least tarnish the administration and waste time and money and energy and weaken the fabric of our branches of government. He's undermining our republic as we speak. And you know what? You are paying for it. Mueller is undermining our republic as we speak. And you are paying for it. There's most certainly somebody within our government who can put a stop to the madness which Mueller is doing. He is literally tearing our nation apart. He's not trying to find crime. If there was a crime there, he would have found it already. With all of the leaks, all of the recordings, all of the paper trail, everything else, he would have found it. There's nothing there. So, as you see, this painting, all these dots, and these two dots in particular, very close in proximity. Again, I hope Sessions, and my best guess is Sessions is signaling, and he is on a mission to take down those in government who are leaking. And God help us all, because right now we are in a war unlike we have ever seen before within our republic. Our founders warned us about this. Take down from within. It's up to you and me to stick together, to unite, even if we do not agree 100% of the time, to find common ground and to unite against those who would want to bring our nation down. And if you work in government and you see something that's sensitive, don't go pass it around. It's up to us to take and make responsible decisions and choices and responsibility. Just make the right choice, do the right thing. Don't go in the wrong direction. Guard our republic. Be it a paper pusher, be it a high-level bureaucrat, do the right thing. Yes? So, I'm hoping you see what I'm saying, and you get on the right path to understanding that big picture, to stepping back from the media when they put out news and see what's really going on. Okay? Take a minute. You don't have to react right away. Everybody wants the biggest story now, especially people in media or people who talk politics all the time. Look at things for a minute. Think about them. Don't just be spoon-fed, yes? Don't just be spoon-fed. Be smart. I want to thank all of you for your support these last few months, and support my projects, the book, my show, uniting with me to better our great nation. I've been having some really great conversations with Patriots online. It's good to see people are waking up and having these conversations and getting involved. I know people are really angry about what's happened in Alabama and across the country, but let's keep our heads on straight. Let's address each situation. When you are on social media and you see something that's legit, that you think officials aren't addressing, copy them. If you see a newsworthy story that's posted and it's something that's verified and solid and you have a concern, put a little excerpt on there and then copy your representative or your senator or your local press or even the president or vice president if you think it's that noteworthy. Also copy your fellow patriots and have conversations. It's one way that we across the nation can communicate. And I saw this today. I saw this morning where, and I'm going to bring up my book one last time. I had gone from, I think it was, 170 last night on the Women in Politics list, number 170 for my book, on Amazon ranking, to this morning being listed as number 51. Really great news. But then when I went to go search my book, because I thought, I'm going to see where it's showing up, I noticed almost all of my information is gone. On Google, they are literally filtering things out. So what I want to say to you right now is get connected with your Tea Party groups, get connected with fellow patriots in your area, get connected on social media, but don't rely solely on that. I know many of us are on email lists and other forums. Stay united. Yeah? Tonight, I want to give you the number to Congress. It's 202-224-3121. That's 202-224-3121. You can go to whitehouse.gov or senate.gov. You can also look up other resources on my website, erincruz.com, erincruz.com, or send emails and inquiries to info@erincruz.com. Make sure you like us on social media. Many of you are my friends on Twitter at WagnerGirlie, WAGNERGIRLE. You know, we have to stay united. As always, we want to grow together, find common solutions, find common ground. I will answer any questions I can. Do not hesitate to reach out, okay? We are in this together. Thank you for joining me tonight for Queen of Politics of the Erin Cruz Show. Join me again this next Tuesday night, 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Political Core. We like to get a little bit deeper into the issues on that show, yes? Thank you again so much, everybody. I hope you all have a blessed evening. God bless you, and God bless America.
To hear more and to learn more on how you can make an impact or about the Queen of Politics and the Erin Cruz Show, visit us online at erincruz.com. That's erincruz.com. Thank you for joining us, and see you at the same time and the same place next week.